All right, ladies and gents. Well, welcome back to Choicez. This is the third, the 3 out of 4 the Choicez sessions that we've got going here, running through the chaplaincy at Notre Dame University. So you're all very welcome. I see a fair few familiar faces from the last couple of events. We've got a few new faces as well, which is great. So for those of you who haven't been in before, this is an event about choices, that's the name, with a little Z, choices made easy, that's the idea at Zigi's restaurant. Alright, so Cassie, Confused Cassie, the last couple of weeks, has written a few letters to Hayden with quite a bit of success. I think last week's, for those of you who were here, Cassie talked about some relationships that she was trying to figure out, trying to work through, friendships, family, and a hottie, a certain guy, who she was, her words, not mine, interested in, and trying to figure out how to sort of navigate the emotional and romantic life of early to mid-20s. So tonight, I think that she's back again, obviously. Thank you, Cassie, for coming back again. Clearly. So she's back, I assume, with a new letter, which we're all looking forward very much to hear, and then hearing Hayden Ramsey, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Notre Dame, give a bit of a response to. And then we'll open it up again for questions addressed in the form of a letter, Dear Hayden. So, over to Confused Cassie.
Hey Hayden, buddy, old pal. How's it going? I really appreciate the time you're taking to go through all this stuff with me. Thank you. But I have to admit, it's not as easy as you make it sound. I found it quite hard making changes in my life about the way I think and choose, even though I really want to. It feels like a constant struggle, like I'm always swimming against the tide. And I don't think I'm supposed to think or say this, but it doesn't come naturally. Also, right now, it doesn't feel good like I expected it to. So when does striving to live the good life actually start producing the happiness and contentedness that we associate with a good life? Also, is it all about happiness? Because I can think of a whole bunch of things that make me and others feel happy that I know don't belong in the good life that we're talking about. So, does that mean that it's not about a feeling of happiness? And what is happiness anyway? I know plenty of people who do really stupid things who are perfectly happy. Actually, most non-Christians would call a Christian life, a virtuous life, pretty miserable. And I have to admit that I agree. I don't want to believe that a good life is miserable, but this constant resistance from swimming against the tide is really miserable. I'm even struggling with changing little things like swearing and white lies and the occasional shortcut, which some may call cheating, in assignments and exams. You know, old habits die hard. But I feel like such a hopeless failure that I can't even get a handle on the words that come out of my mouth. And because I've consciously decided to make a change, I notice every single slip up and it stays with me. See, I meant it when I said it's miserable. Maybe I should just give up. I mean, I reckon life was a whole lot better before I started writing you these letters. So that kind of makes it your fault. No, I came here because I was worried, and I guess even though I feel like a failure, at least there's room for improvement, right? I don't know. I feel like everything is supposed to be black and white, but it seems that most of the time we're actually swimming in grey. So everyone just has to find their own path in their own conscience, wading through the grey. And yet I don't know how to balance that with the idea of common values and a common truth. And I don't know, I think I'm having an existential crisis. If we pretend for a minute that life is black and white, and that there is good and evil and one is clearly distinguishable from the other, which I think you would say that it is, then how do I identify good, and will I get better at identifying it? Will the virtuous good life become easier to grab hold of and hold on to as time goes on? Basically, I'm asking if I'm going to get better at being a human being. Or rather, get better at being the human being that I want to be, that I think I should be. I really hope the answer is yes. Is it yes?
Oh, Cassie, of course it's yes. Of course it's yes.
I think it was actually easier last week when we were talking about this boy you were eyeing up in classes.
I got rid of him.
You got rid of him. Oh, good. It worked. It's also good to hear as the head of a university that it's all my fault. I'd just like to confirm that everything that goes wrong is my fault, even though you're at Wollongong University. Absolutely. Look, it seems to me that as the weeks are going on with your letters, we spent the first week on what should I do with my life? What should I study? Where should I work? What should my job be? How do I fill my time up? Then we moved to relationships and the embarrassing stuff. And now basically you're moving to the area of, I suppose what we have to call the moral life, the right life, the life of good conduct. And I think we're going to have to do some really careful thinking through this. I can see the eyes of these people in the background. They're just alight with questions. There's about 4 at the end of that table. And I'm just going to delay a short time with a few remarks. I think it's about 5 things in what Cassie said, and then over to you lot for the rest of the evening. First of all, this idea of happiness. I mean, who doesn't want happiness? That's what we're here for, isn't it? Happiness. That's why we were made. That's why we get up in the morning. That's what we want for our families, our friends, our loved ones. But can it be just as easy as getting happy? Well, yeah, it really can. I truly believe with every part of me that the reason we're here and the reason we act is for the sake of happiness. And I think it's both a little more difficult than it sounds at first, but also much, much easier. You used the phrase at the beginning of your letter, this stuff doesn't come naturally. It's really hard. It seems like swimming against the tide. I actually think, and it's the first time I've said this in 3 weeks, I actually think you're wrong there. I think this stuff, acting rightly, acting ethically, acting morally, doing the right thing, I think it does come naturally to us. And I think when you do the wrong thing and you know you're doing the wrong thing, I think that hurts. I think that compromises you. I think it makes you feel dirty, ashamed, embarrassed, violated, degraded, etc., etc. I think it makes you feel less than you're meant to be and less than truly happy. So I want to spend most of the 10 minutes I have with you tonight on the idea of happiness. And I want to say to Cassie and to all of her friends here that the point of doing this, the point of taking basically an hour out of your busy day and your busy week is in this area of the moral life, we come for the first time to something of the greatest seriousness, a part of our lives in which we need 2 things above all. Stability. We need to feel stable in this area, secure. For those of you who were here in week 1, go back to the framework which is both a perimeter and the foundation. We need stability in the moral life. Secondly, we need clarity. We need it to be clear. We need to know, not that we've got every one of the answers or we've got the answer in front of us now, but we need to know there is an answer there to be got in each important area. And it is possible with some clear thinking, clarity, to get there. Stability and clarity. Let's talk about happiness. My volunteer, where's my volunteer? Everyone, take a look at my volunteer here. When we look at her, the first thing we see, apart from just embarrassing her to death, the first thing we see is that she has so much in common with me, with Cassie, and with all the rest of you. We have bodies of roughly equal size and sort of shape. We laugh at roughly the same sort of things, even though there are years and years of difference between us. When I smile, you smile. Look, she did it now. You smile back at me. We also both are capable of language and we're capable of thoughts. We both have minds. We both like probably different sorts of music, but we both like music, yeah? Yes. We enjoy music. We enjoy looking at beautiful things. We quite like this place because the colours are a bit crazy and a bit interesting. It's not like sitting in a grey box. We both got imagination. We like being with people. We don't like sitting alone for too long unless we choose to. So we're both sociable. We're probably thinking still at our different stages of life about the meaning of life, the purpose of it all. Is there a God? What am I meant to do? Can I get really spiritual? The fascinating thing is each and every one of us is basically made up of these same dimensions of physicality, the body, intelligence, the mind, imagination, sociability. We're also animals, which means, as we said last week, we are sexual beings. So the first thing I want you to note is that this combination of parts that make us up, our body, our mind, our imagination, our sociability, this is called our nature. When we talk about human nature, we just mean the different deep dimensions of person that compose each of us, whoever we are, wherever we grew up, whatever age we are. Now, the key to happiness is simply to find a way of fulfilling, enriching, bringing to new life each and every one of those dimensions of the person. Having a body that's sort of healthy and fit and not sick and broken down and not dying. Having a mind which is a healthy mind, a mind craving truth, a mind looking for, curiously looking for new thoughts and interesting thoughts and enjoying conversations. Having an imagination that enjoys finding new forms of beauty, new forms of expression. Every part of your personality, every part of your person rather, being fully enriched, brought to full perfection, completed. That is a happy life. You are a really complex thing, as I said in the first week. You're not like the table. Not much can go wrong with the table. Few more things can go wrong with a hedgehog, right? Even more things can go wrong with you than with a hedgehog. You're complex, you've got lots of different parts. Happiness is all of those parts singing in tune, making the full symphony of your life. Your mind fulfilled, your body fulfilled, your imagination fulfilled, sociability, spirituality, sexuality fulfilled. And all of those parts of yourself talking to, linked to each other. Happiness is a lot more than just having a feeling, Cassie. Cassie, look at this here again. It is not in the glass. My dear, it is not in the glass. If happiness was as simple as that, I could alcoholize Cassie into happiness. I could give her in my pocket my favorite happiness drug, put it in there, zing, look at her life. Is that real? Is that happiness? Is the woman fulfilled? Is she the woman she's meant to be? Is she the person, if she were your daughter, is this how you would like her to be? No, you don't want people drugged into happiness. That ain't happiness. It might be feeling happy, but hey, feeling happy is just a bit like feeling itchy. It's not actually that important. What's important is being happy, your word, existentially. In other words, deeply, transcendently, human, transformatively being happy. And that's every part of you at work. Now, the key way you can wreck your own happiness is to knowingly do what's morally wrong. Cassie, you mentioned your swearing. Well, even I do it under a bit of provocation, but try to keep your words clean, because it basically means that what's inside is clean, and words are the most precious thing we've got. Even our bodies talk. You've heard of body language, yeah? Body language is literally your body entering into the great language of communication which first brought the universe into being and now holds it in being. And bodies talk. Everything that matters talks. Words are precious. If under pressure you say, better not say that for the camera, but if under pressure you say that, it's not the end of the world. If habitually your language is dirty, hey, why? Lying, I would avoid lying. We're made to seek truth and to share truth. If instead I seek falsehood and I share falsehood with you, particularly if it's easy, particularly if it gets me out of a difficult situation, your word, white lie, We've all done it sometimes, but none of us really want to do it, do we? We sometimes feel we have to do it. We probably don't have to do it. Words are made for truth. That's all they are. Words are like the breath of truth. And I think living lies can easily become living a lie. And I think once you're aware you're doing that, I think unhappiness comes. We live in whole circles of lies, social lies, moral lies, this consumerist, commercialized world. It is so easy to live a lie. The world is already doing that to us. Social systems are entrapping us in lies. I think let's not add our own little lies if we can avoid it to that. Cheating, don't cheat, particularly not in exams. This is dreadful. In exams, you should get the mark you deserve. When I studied philosophy about 500 years ago, we often spoke about the concept of dessert in moral philosophy. Not dessert, D-E-S-S-E-R-T, which means pudding, but dessert, D-E-S-E-R-T, it means what you deserve, that which you deserve. I think you should really get the mark you deserve. I think, again, it's about truth. It's about truth and transparency between you, the lecturer, and the university. If you cheat, you make a special exception of yourself. Not in the sense that you're making yourself better than others, you're actually making yourself worse than others, and you feel bad eventually. Can I say just a couple of more things, maybe? Does it get easier? Yes, it does. It really does get easier. And that's because of the idea of habits. We all know about habits, like, there's some really bad, disgusting habits, like biting your nails in public, which I think is possibly the most evil thing a person can do. There are habits in choices too. You can get into habits with the choices you make. You can become habituated in good or in bad choice. Let's take a sort of easy example. None of you has very much money because you're all students. I know most of you are working, and I know it's hard. It's hard to be generous. Let's say you are generous, I am a Scottish head of university, so I'm going to donate 50 cents to this guy. This hurts, yeah? Actions, morally right actions, often feel difficult, painful. They hurt a bit when you do them. Let's say I do it again, my act of generosity. I give this guy 50 cents. His life immediately becomes better. It is as hard as it was giving the money to Cassie. Now, though, he's giving me a bit of a smile. It's his first smile tonight, so I'm going to try this again. I'm going to keep doing this 50-cent trick. Go on, take the money. You know This is actually making me feel quite good. And the nice thing is, for the first time in 3 days, this man goes and eats something vaguely healthy. So I begin to see that this generosity thing, which really hurt at first, I don't want to give Cassie 50 cents. Let's start doing it. Before you know it, it becomes a habit with me. So I move from performing generous acts to being habitually generous. I start to develop a good habit of generosity. Whenever I see someone sitting on the road, I can give them the $2. And whenever I see the charity box, whenever the plate comes round in church, I start giving a bit more. As I move from the act of generosity to the habit of generosity, as I get in the habit, Cassie, it really does start to come naturally to me. It would now go against the grain for me to be mean and not give the money. It's now my habit. Just like before I used to pick my nose or bite my nails, now I give money away to people. I've got a good habit. Philosophical and theological tradition has a special word, which many of you will know, for good habits. Good habits are called virtues. Right? It comes from a Latin word for strength. A virtue is just a sort of moral strength. It means I'm now in the habit of being generous, of being just, of being chaste, of being patient, of whatever moral quality it is. Once you get in the habit of doing the right thing, it becomes so much easier and so much more pleasant. One of the greatest of all thinkers, Aristotle, back hundreds of years before Christ, said that the mark of a virtuous man or woman is that he or she takes pleasure in doing good. Some other thinkers have said that's not right. How do you know it's real good? Good should really hurt and really cost you. You only know it's good if you have to make a huge effort. Okay, you can take the bloody watch. There you are. No. But I'm with Aristotle here. The more you become habituated in goodness, the more it flows and the more pleasure comes from it. If that is true, it is some evidence that it is your nature, our nature, to be good and to do the right thing. Just one more remark. Good and evil. Are they like black and white? Yeah, they are. They really are. What about working out what is good and evil? No, that hardly ever feels like black and white. But there is, I truly believe, a black and white there. And I think working out what is truly good and what is truly evil is a lifetime's work. But I think there are some things that you and I can agree are truly good. Truly good. And some of them are very simple and obvious. If one of you at the moment were to become really unwell here, God forbid, I know for a moral certainty that everyone in this room would want to, and most of you would, immediately go to help, even if it was messy, even if it was frightening. I know if someone falls down in the street outside and an old lady loses her footing when you leave here tonight, I know for a moral certainty that you will all want to, and most of you will try to help. And we know that this is good. And I also know for a moral certainty, and I believe you know, that if somebody out there in the back lane outside Zigi's tonight mugs an old lady, punches her to take the handbag, you know it is bad. And I think we all know that. I think it becomes much more complicated, your word, Cassie, much greyer in certain areas, but I don't believe that means there is not an answer. I believe that means that the answer is very difficult. I want to make my last word before we have some question time. I want to make my last word on evil, because when I was scribbling my notes there, something Cassie said on good and evil made me think, what one thing we must never do is to think that the universe is ruled by good and evil. And these are sort of battling for our souls. The universe is ruled only by good. And when evil things happen, this is no evidence of the reign of evil or the destruction of goodness. I'd like to suggest to you that evil is not the opposite of good. I think evil, there are genuine evils out there, but I think the opposite of good is basically less good, and sometimes much less good. I don't think there is a good and some big boogeyman thing called evil wandering about fighting it. I take encouragement here from the greatest theologians Christian tradition has given rise to, who said in my own simple language things like this. I hope you all admired the shirt tonight. It is my best one. It is my favourite one. If you don't like the colour, I'm very sorry. It's my favourite shirt. It is a very good shirt. But one day, it will not be a good shirt. There will appear in it, I'm not going to do it, there will appear in it a tear. There will appear in it a hole like that. It will stop being a good shirt and become a bad shirt. From being good, it will become evil. It will become a bad shirt, a shirt that's not good at being a shirt. That's all evil means, yeah? Evil is just another word for bad. A bad shirt isn't good at being a shirt. A bad dishwasher isn't good at being a dishwasher. It doesn't wash dishes because it's broken down. I want you to think about a shirt or your socks or whatever the next time it gets a hole in it and stops being a good shirt. When it gets a hole, why am I showing you a picture of a kangaroo there? That wasn't the point. When the shirt gets a hole in it, you don't see that something has appeared there called evil. There isn't a little thing now stuck on my shirt called evil. Rather, what's happened is there's less shirt than there was before. Badness, evil, is just a diminishment, a lessening, a reduction in the goodness of some existing thing. That's the hardest thing I've said in these 3 weeks. If the hole in the shirt became a total hole, that would mean there was no shirt. Agreed? Yeah? A total hole in the shirt, an absolute lack of fabric means no shirt. So the hole in the shirt depends on the shirt existing. Evil depends on there being some underlying good which is being gradually reduced. Evil can never conquer good. If the shirt disappears, you don't have a hole in a shirt. You just don't have a shirt at all. Yeah? Evil depends on there being some good that is being diminished. Even evil depends upon good. A broken dishwasher still has to be a dishwasher, otherwise it isn't a broken dishwasher. It just goes out of existence and isn't a thing at all. So I'd like you to start thinking of evil as not some sort of rival to good that's wandering about haunting us. I'd like you, if you would, to think of evil as just less good, maybe much less good than it, the shirt, or we, the man and woman, should be. I think the moral life is great fun, and I think if you get your habits right, Cassie, it's going to start appearing fun. The first thing you need to do is clearly to transfer to Notre Dame. Everyone in the room believes this. Universal shout of yes, please. Yes! That includes the kids from Sydney, who very generously agreed with the yes there. So that would be my best advice to you. But we got 40 of your best friends here who may have some other points to make. Over to you.